Hello, comic book collectors. This is Alan, the comic collector geek, and I had a crazy day today. It's just a crazy day. If you watched earlier, I did a live broadcast accidentally. So what happened was I was going to when I do my interviews, I actually do them through StreamYard, which is the program I'm using right now. And what happens is I basically, you know, I have them go live, but go into my private channel so that nobody can see them. So it's so that way I can record them, store them, and then upload them later. So that's what happens normally. So it's kind of a weird system, but that's what happens. So I just kind of wanted to explain that if there was an earlier broadcast where I went live, ignore that one. This is the one that you should be watching. This is the more interesting one because I'm going to show some pretty cool things. Yeah, so for all the people that are watching right now, thank you for coming. It's sort of funny. I was like, the previous one when I tried to go live, when I didn't mean to go live, I was like saying, "Go away! No, don't look at this," because it wasn't meant to go live. It was kind of funny. So I didn't realize it was live. But this one is meant to be live, and I'm going to show two big boxes that I picked up, which is kind of a major collection. So for those people that watch my channel and are kind of familiar with my channel, I buy things in the US and then I ship them to a company called Stackery, which is basically like a warehouse where they basically store people's orders in the US, and then they forward all those orders all in one shipment to people in Canada. That's what I do. So people, I order a whole bunch of stuff in the US, and then it's sort of, they stack it up. Yeah, so hi Bleecker. Yeah, so I messed up. I messed up. The first time I didn't mean to go live. It was meant to be a recording. This one was meant to be live. This is me showing, I just got my Stackery order. So this is like two big boxes from Stackery, but it's actually not as big as the previous one. If you're watching my the unboxing that I did today, for example, that was from a previous Stackery order, and this one is a smaller order but bigger books. So this one, like the previous one, had really big books in it too, but this one's even bigger. Like if that makes sense, like it's the quality is even higher than the previous unboxing. So it's going to be even bigger stuff. Looking forward to seeing the books. I'm a new to Golden Age collecting. Yeah, I saw your comment. Actually, you commented on one of my videos saying that I got you into collecting Golden Age. I was kind of happy that I inspired people to get into Golden Age. So it's this is going to be like, I'm going to show a little bit of what's inside. Actually, I didn't bring my knife, which was really dumb of me, but I'm going to show you at least the two boxes and give you a hint of some of the stuff. And I'm going to show a couple things so you get a little bit of something on this video. But basically, I want to explain the situation. So what happened was, I don't know why. Actually, last month, maybe a month and a half ago, I basically wanted to stop buying so much stuff. Like, I just wanted to stop buying so much stuff. But for some reason, I don't know why, there was like so many great books that kind of presented themselves to me. Like, it was like, oh, I'm selling this amazing book that, there's only like 5 in existence. It's like one you'll never see again. And I'm selling it for half price. I'm like, oh, I better buy it. So it's just been like that, like over and over again, like where I've been getting all these amazing books at amazing prices. And these are Golden Age books. So that these are ones that you just don't see very often, that you like. Some of these I've never seen before. Like, this is like the one opportunity for me to buy it. A few of them are ones that are on my top 10 want list. So it's just a collection like that. And even some of the like lower end books that are in this are still big books. It's like, that's the level of this stuff. Well, you came to the right place. Comic Collector, Collector Geek is the main man when it comes to Golden Age. Thank you, Bleeker, for saying that. Actually, Bleeker, I have something for you at some point. I'll tell you about that later. I have a surprise for you, Bleeker. Yeah. So, yeah. So I'm just going to show you the two boxes. This is a little bit of a teaser, I guess, of the two boxes. So I'm going to move the camera a bit. I'm going to disconnect it here. I'm going to move the camera, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do this correctly. Let's see. I got to kind of bend down here. So I'm showing you the room a little bit. This is kind of the comic room. So you can see all the slabs and stuff. And there's my step ladder. And here are the two boxes. So inside those two boxes, they're fairly big. I'm not sure if you can tell how big they are, but they're fairly big boxes. And inside is pretty much all Golden Age. There's a couple modern, but not too much, mostly Golden Age books. And they're all big books for the most part. Like I would say easily $30,000 to $40,000 worth of books, if that makes sense. So it's a lot of books. I didn't pay that much for them, but that's how much it's probably worth. And that I'd say $30,000 to $40,000 range. So pretty massive collection. So I'm kind of show it again. Those two big boxes. I don't know if you can see it. It's a really weird angle. So two big boxes filled with Golden Age stuff. Filled with Golden Age stuff. So yeah, I can show you a little bit around the room so you can see. I did a room tour before, but yeah, you can see the room. So thank you for thinking it's a cool room. And yeah, you can see kind of some of the books in behind me too. You can see I don't usually show you don't usually, in my videos, like, I don't usually show the top row. So you can see that top row. You don't usually get to see that because it's kind of cropped off, but that top row has some pretty big books. So that's the preview. I'm going to try to open it up a little bit to give you guys a little sense. If I had brought my knife, it would have been totally helpful. I've been sort of running around all day, so I forgot that I had my knife downstairs. So I'm gonna try to open up one of these boxes. Okay, let's see if I can open it up without my knife. Yeah, maybe not. So yeah, yes. So there was a Hulk 1. You can see the Hulk 1 kind of right up there. Okay. So yeah, so there's they really taped it well. I thought I could just rip it, but it's not rippable. Okay. Aha! I used this as a knife and it worked. I just kind of sliced it with that. Okay, so I'm like MacGyver. So this actually works. So if you ever need a box cutter or knife, you can use a roll of Scotch tape and then just use little teeth. This is like MacGyver. I'm like MacGyver. I'm so smart. Okay. Is there a room for beginners 1? A Golden Age I bought is not on this level though. Yeah. So there are some books, like there's some books that I have that are beginner level kind of, like if you want to get started in Golden Age, you don't have to go to the crazy, buy some expensive books. Like I'll show you one. I'm just going to grab a book just because it was right there. That is a beginner level book, but it's cool Golden Age. So it's, for example, this is Famous Funnies. This is Famous Funnies 191. Now later, they become really, really expensive. So a lot of Famous Funnies you can buy so cheap, like highest grade on the census, under $100 kind of level for a Golden Age book. This is the first appearance of Barney Carr, okay? Not a character that went anywhere. So this book, $50, $50, $100 maybe at the most. Just a very affordable key from the Golden Age. I mean, this one's in pretty rough shape, but you know, it is what it is. So the point is, there are books that you can buy that are very affordable within the golden age. Famous Funnies has a lot of really great covers and a lot of really great stories and artists. Now there are some expensive ones within this run. So within the 210 era, like around that 210 number, those are Fazetta covers, and those ones are really expensive. They'll cost you an arm and a leg. But some of the earlier issues are actually very affordable. So a series to definitely check out. They're not ones that we're going to go up huge amounts either, though. I mean, generally with Golden Age, they try sort of gradually go up. So if they're only worth $50 now, they're probably going to be worth maybe $50 in the future too. So you got to watch out for that, where it's maybe not as great of an investment if you're not buying those bigger books. But there are some pretty cool things still. You can at least get a taste for the Golden Age affordably. So that's all I was trying to recommend there. So I'm just going to give you a hint. So inside the box is just, you can see like just how many slabs that is, right? It's just bundles like this. Okay, and I would say there's one. Another bundle. So you see all the books. It's 2 bundles. It's just like filled like this. Oh, I'll actually unbox this one. This is just this is just something I got. I'll show you this. Okay, that's because it's not comic related. Okay, there's like all the bubble wrap. And wow, this one has a lot of books. You can see all the books, all the raws. So these are all Golden Age, actually. Okay. And another big group of slabs. You can see, and that's just one box. One box was just, this is what was inside that first box. So just to give you a sense of how much stuff was inside these boxes. So that's at least a couple hundred comics, like in all Golden Age. And then the second box, I'm going to actually open it up too. This is just me showing some, fun stuff that's inside the boxes. Give you a little hint of some of the stuff that's in here. Let's see if I can do this again. Oh my goodness, this is working so well. Okay, my MacGyver. Okay, another big bunch of books. And some more books. These are all, yeah. So are all these books from different sellers? Yes. So what happened is, like, this would be about 80 different orders. That's what this is. Like, these are, so what I'll do is I'll buy like a whole bunch of stuff over a period of a month, like where it'll be like small one, like maybe one book from one vendor, or maybe 10 books from another vendor, and I will just get those all like sent to Stackery, which is kind of like a warehouse, and then they consolidate all those orders into 1 or 2 boxes in this case. So yeah, it was about 80 different sellers, to give you a sense of how many different sellers were involved. And they're, some of the books are modern. Most, I'd say 90% are not modern. Most of it's Golden Age. And it's just like, and some of it was like collections. So there was people on Instagram that I was buying from, and they were literally selling collections of Golden Age. And when I say a collection, I'm not saying like hundreds of books. I'm saying maybe 5 books, 5 to 10 books. But these are like, when you buy Golden Age and you're buying like a collection, that's 4 or 5 books. Usually it's big books like Golden Age Batman or Golden Age Good Girl Art or something kind of something kind of major. So yeah, so it's a little different. Wow. Oh my goodness. Yeah. Wow. Oh. Okay, so this is another, just all slabs. You can see that. Not sure if you can see all that. So this is like a collection like that I would have bought. This is probably one collection where somebody sent me a whole bunch of books. You can almost see some of them. I can sort of, I'm going to give you guys a quick, this is a sneak preview. If you can read the titles, then you get a little bit of a bonus where you can see some of the titles. I don't know if you can see the titles. So you can see. So I see Annie Oakley. Oh, some really cool books in here, actually. So this is a good one. So yeah, see, there was a little bit of a sneak preview there. A little bit of a sneak preview. Bye, Bleeker. Thanks for coming. So, by the way, sites that I can suggest would be My Comic Shop, eBay, Heritage Auctions, Instagram. Like, there's a lot of great collectors that are selling stuff on Instagram. Actually, right now, I'm finding I'm getting the best stuff off Instagram. So I definitely recommend you check that out. And here's another thing. Okay, so that's it. That's all that was inside in terms of stuff. I'm going to open up this one little thing just for fun. This is just me opening this up for fun. And I got to explain what this is. So this is not a comic, okay? Don't expect this to be a Golden Age comic. This is just, what happens is one of my friends, he enters into a lot of contests. His name's Falco, and he's really into entering any time you can win a contest. He loves entering into that, like where it's a free contest. And what he does is he sends it to me. He gives them to me, which is really nice of him. So that's what this is. It's like a little collection that he won, and he gave it to me, which is always nice. So so this is from this is the company that he won the thing from. And what is all this stuff? It's like a whole bunch of stuff. Thanks for your order. I don't know. And I got a little sticker thing. And like some Star Wars, I don't know, Star Wars stuff. Not sure if you can see that. And some pin. These are all, that's kind of cool. Not sure what it is, but kind of cool looking pin. And then we got another pin. And not sure what this is. Some mystery thing. I'm not sure what this is. But we'll look inside and find out what's inside. I'm gonna rip it, I guess. Let's see what's inside here. Okay. Huh? I think it's just like, it's not even anything useful. I think it's just some cards. Let's see. There's some cards. And I don't know, some card thing. I don't know what this is. Engagement ring? I don't know what this is. I don't know. If anyone knows what this is, you can tell me, but I have no idea what it is. So it's just some weird thing. I don't know what that was. So that's that. And oh, wow, okay. There is a comic in here. And this is totally not related, but it's a comic that was that I actually did buy. This is one, I'm going to just show one, you get one comic. This is Hello Buddies. And these are really great Golden Age, like funny comics. They're small, they're like digest size. But they have a lot of good girl art in them. And I'll actually open this up. Hopefully it's not, I think it's appropriate. It's meant for like the military, like it was like catered to that audience. And it would have like kind of kind of sexy, a little bit sexy, kind of good girl art kind of stuff. You got the kind of, it's like just gags, like little gags and stuff. And you can pick these up fairly cheaply. I think I paid $5 for this. So it's not an expensive thing, but it has a lot of really great good girl art in it. So just you can see, like, I mean, really great good girl art cover. You can see the back as well. And some of these actually had some pretty famous artists working on them. Or, sort of this kind of fun stuff. I'll show you some of the interiors. And as I said, I think I paid $5 for it. This is not an expensive one. But some of them can go for, a bit of money, maybe $20. They don't go up that much. But what people look for when they buy these is they look for that good girl art cover. So if it has a really great, kind of a little bit sexy, she's showing a bit of lingerie, then it can go for a little bit more just because, there's collectors for this kind of stuff. But yeah, they're fairly affordable. And if you can see, this one's in really pristine condition. It has a bit of shadowing on it, like you can see, but for the most part, it's actually really, really sharp. No spine ticks even. Like, it's just actually really solid. So just like really nice copy. And I paid like $5 for it. Things like that. Like, as I was saying, like I was getting so many great deals that I just felt like, wow, I really don't want to buy these, but I have to buy them because they're such a great deal. And included as well was a Funko Pop. This is the thing that my friend won. So yeah, there's a Funko Pop Power Line, which I'm not familiar with, but this is a limited edition Funko Pop. So that was in there too. And usually whenever I get Funko Pops from my friend where he wins these things, I put them, like, I have like a little collection that I kind of have of Funko Pops. So yeah, that was kind of nice. But it's cool that there's this little comic was in there too. So I do recommend search Hello Buddies on eBay, and you can usually find these very, very affordably. Hi, LT. Yeah, it's a character from the Goofy movie. Yeah, I figured that it was something like that. It has that look to it. It even says on the back, Goofy movie. I saw that, but I didn't watch the Goofy movie, so my kids are now too old for the Goofy movie, so I didn't get to see that one. But yeah, so that's, I don't know, a little bit of a teaser for the next unboxing. Now we're like the unboxing that is currently going on. There's going to be some more great books in that. I think the next 2 or 3 videos is all slabs and all bigger books. So that should be really great too. Okay, so it's good fun even if you're older. I'll have to watch it. I actually don't mind watching some of those animated movies that are meant for kids. I don't mind watching them. But yeah, I haven't watched that one. That's the point. So yeah, so this was the teaser video. This is just me talking about the crazy day. But actually, it was really funny just to go on about the crazy day. Hi, Metal Bum. So earlier I did a live stream by accident, just so you know, like that's why I felt like I had to do this one just because to explain why I did the earlier one. It was just that what happened was I was trying to record a video and I clicked go live. Like I clicked the live button instead of just record button. So it went live instead of just being recorded and not meant for broadcast. So it was kind of funny. So I actually had to stop the live video, and I actually was doing an interview, and we re-recorded the interview, and that will air in a few weeks. But it's just a really messed up situation. And then the funny thing was, as I was trying to record this interview, my wife called. And whenever somebody calls me on my cell phone, it interrupts the broadcast as well. So it was really messed up. It was just really crazy. So yeah, it was a very funny experience. I deleted that video because it was so embarrassing. But yeah, it happens. It happens. If you're gonna make a mistake, do it live. Do it live. Have everybody in the world see it. Make a total fool of yourself, and that's what I generally do. So yeah, that was funny. Um, thank you so much for the info and looking forward to the unboxing. Very nice to meet you. Oh, pleasure to meet you as well. Um, yeah, keep it up. Uh, thumbs up thumbs up, everyone, for the great content and vintage comics. Thank you. Yeah, save it for the blooper reel. No, I deleted it. I'm erasing it from my memory, erasing it from like the internet, and yeah, it's gone. It's gone, that video. It was really embarrassing. I totally messed up. But yeah. So yeah, so there was some really, I'm pretty excited to get into this unboxing. So probably once I stop this video, once I stop this live, I will go through and record the actual unboxing. Um, did you miss a Grail? No, I didn't show any Grails in this video. This is really just a sneak preview. I will be recording videos from this where I will actually do the unboxing and go and remove all the wrapping and actual show the books in future videos. So you'll see those in probably 2 weeks. You'll see what was actually in this unboxing. And I can guarantee you it is big stuff. Like I know what's in it. So it's really big stuff. And that will be coming in a couple weeks. So you got to stay tuned. Watch my current unboxing that I'm doing. It has some really amazing stuff in it. But this next set of unboxings will be even better, actually. Just crazy stuff came my way, and I was like, oh wow, this is really awesome. So I didn't show any big Grails. The only Golden Age book that I showed was this one. So if you're catching this, this is the only one I showed. Yeah, but I will show, I can show other things that are in the room, but I won't show this stuff until later. You got to wait for this. Are there any Grails that you don't have yet that you want? Always impressed by your collection. There's a ton of Grails that I don't have. The ones that I'm going for right now are Cinderella Love 25. That's a big Grail. That's considered to be one of Matt Baker's biggest books. Other ones I'm going for within that Matt Baker kind of collection would be Seven Seas. There's like 3 major books there. And there's a bunch of books that I'm still collecting. Also going for a Batman 1. I'm going for a Batman 2 as well. And I'm going for there's a bunch of books that are on my want list. Just a ton of books, actually. So there's always things that are books that I'm going after. I'm also going for a lot of pre-code horror books right now. Yeah, there's a lot of books that are still on my want list. So there's a lot more. I have I think on my want list, even though I try to shrink it down every so often, there's over 100 books that are kind of big books that are on my want list, just to give you a sense of how many books that are still out there that I'd really love to have. So in terms of pre-code horror books that I'm chasing after, an example would be Chamber of Chills 19. Very famous cover. It's the one with the girl with the glass, and you can see like she's pretty, but then where the glass is, you can see that she's a skeleton. That's a big book that I'm chasing after. I actually almost won it once. I was so close. I got beat out at the last second. So yeah, so there's a bunch of books that I am chasing after that are pretty big. Yeah, it never ends. I love that you feature scarce comics and Grails they don't find on other channels. Yeah. So the stuff that I collect is very different from most of the channels you'll see on YouTube, because I do collect Golden Age stuff, I don't really go after the same stuff that most people do. Do I want any Silver or Bronze Age books, or are they most Golden Age? Actually, there's a Bronze Age book that I'm currently chasing after, which is Cerebus #1. It came out in the Bronze Age. Definitely a book I'd love to own. I've actually put in offers on 2 copies of that book, but it's just so expensive. Like even like the copies that I was looking at were like in that 6.0 to 8.0 range, and it's like thousands of dollars. So Cerebus #1 is definitely one I'm chasing after. And for Silver Age, there's a bunch of Spider-Man books that I'm looking for, like just not run fillers, but a few keys. And there's a few books that I'm trying to get for Spider-Man that I almost feel like I would like to get that run from 1 to 50. Like I have like most of the major books, but now I have to get the ones in between. So it's kind of going after that stuff. Yeah, the only channel that I can find that with great obscure and random books, it feels like a true collector's channel. That is me. I'm a true collector. So this is like what you're seeing is like usually when you watch other people's channel, what they'll do is they'll say, oh, this is the hot book of the week, and they'll promote some book, or they will be selling some books, and they won't really show books that are in their own personal collection. What you're seeing on this channel is all personal collection. This is my personal collection. This is stuff that I want to keep. This is stuff that goes into the PC, as they always say. This is like stuff that I really enjoy. So that's, you're getting to see the love for these comics. I love these comics that I'm buying. So yeah. Cerebus is Ultra Grail. Yes, it is. So that's why I want it. It's a big one on my list. I've noticed that a lower grade Captain Marvel Adventures and Wonder Woman is in my budget. Any suggestions for in the superhero genre? So yeah, so those are good ones to pick up. Wonder Woman can be expensive actually in the Golden Age, but Captain Marvel and Captain Marvel Jr. very, very affordable. The Mary Marvels are a little bit more pricey, strangely enough, because I don't know, maybe because she's a bit sexier. But the Captain Marvels are usually pretty affordable. Other Golden Age characters that you might want to look into would be if you look into the Smash Comics run. Look into characters like I'm just trying to think of some good characters. Airboy Comics. There's a lot of affordable ones in there. I just picked up a really, really nice Airboy for $40. It's a classic cover. I picked it up for $40 and it's a mid-grade. So just, there's some real good deals within some of these Golden Age, I should say, Golden Age books. It really depends on what kind of characters you're interested in. I tend to go after the good girls, more the sexy girls kind of characters. But yeah, it really depends on what you like. If you tell me what you like, I can kind of recommend a few series to you. Everyone give this man a like for being a true collector. Thank you. Yeah, definitely give me a like. I do appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, that kind of stuff. Oh, wow. Thank you. Wow. Thank you. The money does help kind of pay for all this. I do appreciate it. Thank you, Willie. So yeah, as a fellow collector, I really love your channel. Thank you. I really appreciate that. I really do try. I do my best to try to make it interesting and try to showcase a little bit of the knowledge that I have of Golden Age and some of the different comics that I collect. So yeah. Do I have a favorite PCH cover? Yes, I do. I really do. That's actually in my collection, and I will show it to you guys if you want. If you want to see my favorite, and it's a weird one. Like Chamber of Chills #19 is my favorite PCH cover, So Chamber of Chills, the one with the cup, it's very famous. That would be my favorite. But I'm going to show you another one that I really like almost as much. I'm going to show it to you. One sec here. I have to grab it though. One sec. All right. Sorry about that. I had to go grab something. It's like, so do you have a favorite PCH cover? So I'm going to show you my favorite PCH cover. Okay. So just had to go up and grab it. It was like stacked, like the in my cubbies. I'm not sure if you can see this. One second. See the cubbies? See how all the slabs? I'm not sure if you can see that. I'm going to point. There's all the slabs. Well, it was at the very bottom. So I'm like yanking at it to try to get it out. But I'm going to show it. So this is my favorite PCH cover. And it's one that kind of mixes two things together for me. It mixes good girl art and it mixes horror. And it mixes a bit of, I was a big fan of the Twilight Zone. I was a big fan of like those kind of like bizarre twists and stuff like that in horror or in like kind of sci-fi as well. But but this is the book. This is my favorite PCH cover. I just love this cover. The things that I like about this cover is it's a bondage cover. So you got the girl in bondage right there. She's in the red dress. It's a little bit faded, but it's a red dress. And you got the picture, like where it's painted, and you got the knife in it, right? So it's like, the artist is gonna like complete the painting, but in order to do so, he has to stab the girl. So I just like that kind of like almost where it's developing into the story. Like you got that whole story, what's gonna happen, it's a bit of that premeditated murder kind of element to it. I just really love this cover. Mr. Mystery has some really great covers in it. So I've been actually trying to get the complete run of Mr. Mystery. There's some pretty big books within this run, though. It's a very expensive run to get. I have about 7, and actually, this book, in a weird way, is a bit of a teaser because inside of this big collection that I'm showing, like that I kind of pulled a bunch of bags out, I think there was 4 Mr. Mystery books in it. So lots of great stuff coming in this future unboxing that I'll do later. So there's some Mr. Mystery in it, and I got just amazing books. You wouldn't believe. It's just crazy. So yeah, so this is a kind of a teaser for what's going to be in that future unboxing, because I did pick up a Mr. Mystery collection. It was just a really great deal. So I couldn't resist, and I bought like a pretty awesome collection of Mr. Mystery books. So if you're not familiar with Mr. Mystery, it does have a lot of great PCH content, like pre-code horror content. It's just a really great one. So yeah, so that's my favorite. Like, if you want me to show anything else, I'll show it. But I just sort of grabbed that one. Cool cover mashup of a lot of genres. Yeah, that's what it is, really. It's like you got that good girl, you got bondage, you got horror, all in one cover. Just a really great cover. Mr. Mystery is a really great series. It used to be that certain books within that title were fairly affordable. Now they're all fairly expensive. So I was picking up the cheap ones when I could, and now I also been sort of working at getting the complete series. I'm only missing maybe about 4 or 5 issues now for the complete run of Mr. Mystery, and there's like 20 some odd in the run. So yeah. So Good Girl Heroes hasn't considered any suggestions. Um, so if you like Good Girl and you like female superheroes, the ones that I would recommend would be like Blonde Phantom, Lady Luck, Miss Mask. Um, what else? Miss Fury is another great Golden Age character. I can show you some of those books, and you'll see what I mean. They are really great. Moon Girl's another one that's actually kind of a weird one in general. Um, um, but there are lots of these female superhero characters that really got lost in the Golden Age, but were just really great. As I said, Miss Fury is one of them that has really complicated stories, but really kind of cool stories. Um, so yeah, what's your favorite Golden Age superheroes? So I liked the Wonder Woman kind of characters, and the ones that I just mentioned, all those female ones, I really liked. But I also liked the Spectre. I really enjoyed the Spectre and his run within More Fun Comics. Really great, just so cool. He's a cool character. And I enjoyed Captain Marvel. I enjoyed Bullet Man is another one that I really enjoy. Um, so many books that are really great from the Golden Age. Plastic Man. I have Plastic Man right in front of me, so I have to show Plastic Man. See, this is a good example of Plastic Man. I really like Plastic Man. The funny thing is I liked him when I was a kid, and I still like him now. Just a really great character, fun character. I also enjoy the Spirit, which is a bit of acquired taste. I think a lot of people don't really like the Spirit, but I enjoyed the Spirit. I liked Will Eisner. I noticed all the PCH got a bubble. Hopefully it pops and stagnates. Yeah, so right now, probably not the best time to buy PCH. Like, for those people that are not familiar, PCH is pre-code horror, and it is a terrible time to buy pre-code horror. It is very overpriced right now. Because people are just gravitating to it. So what's happened is as the modern and silver and bronze and copper age books have all fallen, they've really fallen. Like 50 to 80% down. People have gravitated to the Golden Age. So right now, Golden Age is hot, and people are basically buying Golden Age. And what people don't know is like, well, what do I buy? What do I buy in Golden Age? So they buy, oh, pre-code horror. I got to buy pre-code horror. So pre-code horror is just going crazy right now. The prices are really climbing, and it's really expensive. It's not the best time to buy it. What you'll find is there will be a shift, and it will kind of dip down again. So you gotta wait. Probably not the best time to buy it. Plastic Man, I love it. Yeah, me too. I'm a big Plastic Man fan. I love the Spectre. I knew I liked this channel. Well, yeah, see, I like the Spectre. Spectre is really awesome. He's just like such a cool character. And it's funny, if you read the original Spectre, he makes his own costume. I think he sews it. It's like he's like this ultra powerful character, and yet he's sewing his own suit. I just love that. I just thought it was really great. I dig Wonder Woman too. Her comics are hard to get. Barely see them. Trying to pick up some non-grails, just old ones that are low priced. Yeah. Pretty much most of the Golden Age books for her are pretty expensive. That's another thing. Speaking of Wonder Woman, this preview that I showed you, there's a couple. I think there's one or two Wonder Woman in this, and they're the last ones that I needed to complete my Wonder Woman collection. So now, with this order of books, I have the complete Wonder Woman collection. So from 1 to 329, which is the complete Wonder Woman collection. So in here, in this unboxing, there will be a Wonder Woman comic. That's one of the bigger books that was in here. It was actually not even a big book, like a super Grail, but I paid I paid through the nose to get it because they the guy wasn't willing to negotiate on the price, and he wanted basically 4 times guide. Basically, it was insane. I talked him down to about 2 times guide. That's how expensive this book was. It was just crazy, but it's a cool book, and I'll be showing that in this future unboxing. Um, do you hate stains on comics? Yes, I do. But sometimes when you're buying, especially Golden Age books, it is what it is. You sometimes you have to get what you get. Like if you look at like I just showed this book earlier, but this is like the kind of stuff that you get, right? I mean, it's Golden Age. It's like books that are 80 years old. Um, like this has like kind of not I'd say like maybe slightly rusted staples. It's got dirt on it. You can see that it's not clean. It's got writing in the thing. This is what happens. You can't be picky. Yeah. So you can't be picky. That's what it is. It's very limited supply, and the quality is not going to be as high in terms of what you get. Like you're not going to get the 9/8. You're not going to get this pristine book that nobody's ever looked at. When people bought books in the Golden Age, they read them, and as a result, they're dirty, they're bent, they are rough shaped generally. Um, they're more used. Nowadays, people don't even read the comics. They basically stuff them in a little plastic sleeve and throw them into a box. Well, they didn't do that in the Golden Age, so the books are rougher. But that's part of the charm in a weird way of the Golden Age, and that's what makes it kind of fun because you gotta you get what you get, but it can also be part of the charm of the books. They have that character. You can tell that somebody loved this book. There's so many books that you get, especially from the Golden Age, where you can tell people love these books. They wrote their names on them, and they treasured these books. So yeah, it is what it is. Yeah, for Wonder Woman, I'm trying to just get below like 3 grades, basically torn covers, etc. Yeah, I mean, you don't have to like some of the Wonder Woman are actually fairly affordable. Like it depends on what your budget is, but when I say affordable, like within that few $100 range, I mean that's expensive, but it's not break the bank kind of level. Like I mean, there are big books that'll cost you thousands and thousands of dollars, but there are some affordable Wonder Woman that'll cost you maybe a few $100s, and you can get them in a reasonable grade, like that 3 to 4.0 range. I bought a Wonder Woman, I think it was 18, and it was a 7.5, and it cost me like $300-400. So that's a fairly high grade, and it wasn't like really really expensive. And it's an early issue, so there's like so many things there. So you just have to look for the deals. If you look enough, you can sometimes find it. Like and there's a lot of sites where there's auctions like Comic Connect, Comic Link, Heritage Auctions, that actually sometimes you can find a deal. What you got to do is kind of determine how much you want to spend on it, and be realistic, but you can find some deals. So yeah, that's the big reason why I'm getting raws. I actually like reading them and the feel it for times. Yeah, so I'm sort of like that. I do like the idea of the raw comic and being able to flip through it. I'm a bit paranoid though. I'm one of those bad people in terms of the way that I like to, keep my books really pristine. I'm kind of a modern collector in that way. I do put them in the bag and board and hide them away a bit. But I do like when it's a low grade and I don't care that it's going to get damaged or whatever. I do like flipping through it. I do enjoy looking at it and the smell, the whole experience of the Golden Age book. But generally, I'm very protective of my books. I try not to open them up and stuff. Yeah, I'm weird that way. I'll read them online. I do enjoy reading them, so I read them online, which is kind of my way of handling it. Yeah, so it was a 7.5, and it was just like the funny thing was there was 3 copies, I think, like where they were all reasonably high grade, and the guy had the lowest price. The guy that had the 7.5, he had the lowest price, but he also had best offer. So I just basically put out a lowball offer, and he accepted. So I was like, okay, I'll go with it. So yeah, so sometimes you can get those kind of great deals. That's what that was for the Wonder Woman. Okay, Candlestick Cinema. I'm sad because I got a Silver Age books online, and it has a stain on it, but I didn't notice in the picture. But I still love it. It's a Flash comic. Silver Age Flash is cool. So yeah, yeah, it is. That can be frustrating. So there was one book that I really, really love, and when like they said it had like a little bit of foxing, okay, and so I was like, okay, that's not too bad. Like, you know, especially Golden Age, you kind of expect a little bit of foxing. And it was slabbed. It was a 4.0 slabbed. So I thought, oh, it's going to be a reasonable grade. It's a big book. It's actually a key book. But when I got it, it was all foxing. The only reason it was a 4.0 was because of the foxing. It was a very solid copy. It probably, if it wasn't for the foxing, it would be like an 8, you know. But when it kind of did detract from it, and it really bothered me. So sometimes, yeah, the stains can really be annoying. Like, it's just like, and it was like, it's a really great book. Do I have it handy? Oh, I should show you. I'll show it to you. I just got to remember where it is. But it's a really great book. Do you want me to grab that? Would you guys like to see the book that I'm talking about, that I'm babbling about here? One sec. I'm going to just try to grab it. Sorry. As I run off and not find it. I couldn't find it. That's the only problem. My organization is a little bit iffy. So I just ran off, couldn't find the book. It is a classic cover. Is it Strange Suspense Stories, or what is it? It's the one where there's the alien coming through the door, and there was the woman, and she's kind of like sitting there. It's a Steve Ditko cover, and it's just like it's all foxing on it. So foxing is, so if you're not familiar with foxing, it is like brown spots on a book. Does this one like let's see, does this have any foxing? No. So I could show you foxing, but I have to find a book that has it. A lot of older books will have it where it's just like brown spots that kind of form on the paper. Yeah, I wish I could find that book. I don't know where it is, but yeah. So yeah, I don't know, but it is a cool book. I just don't know where I put it. That's really annoying. I have a feeling I know where it is, but it's not handy. But yeah, but it is definitely a cool book. It's a very cool cover, and it's actually a very pristine copy. It just has lots of foxing. So I was very disappointed when I saw that. I thought, oh, you know, it won't be that bad, but yeah, it was pretty bad. So it can be, if a little bit of foxing doesn't look too bad if it's along the edges, but if it's on the cover, it can be really, really annoying. Hi, Dope Comics. So I was just on Dope Comics channel like a few days ago. We were talking about like pre-code horror comics. I was showing my pre-code horror comic collection. So you gotta go check out his video with me on his channel. Go check out Dope Comics. Because I showed like a ton of books on his channel. So yeah, so go over his channel and check him out. So thanks for coming, Dope. And Viking, Pope Viking, hi. So yeah, so we're just hanging out right now. I was showing some of this collection that I picked up. So I'll just show you kind of quickly, like this. There's like, from what I can see, there's like 10 bags like this of just great stuff that I picked up. It's just really awesome collection. Okay, I'll put that over there. So it's just like all these comics that I picked up. Can comic book shops send your books to CGC for you? Yes. So actually, what I had done once, I had bought like a very serious collection from a comic shop. I spent, it was roughly $10,000, and half the books, or most of the books that were in that collection, were not graded. So, for example, there was a first Brainiac in it. There was a first, what's his name? Green Lantern, like Showcase 22. There was a Flash 1, not Flash 1, a Showcase 4 with the first appearance of Flash in that same collection. And what happened was there was a bunch of books. There was Avengers 2. There was just a bunch of really awesome books in this collection that I bought from the guy. And I got the comic book shop to send it all off to CGC, so that any books that were not graded got graded. It took 2 years, 2 years for CGC to grade it. That was during the pandemic, which is not the best time in terms of getting things graded. It was very bad. So I waited 2 years. I thought my books were lost, and these were all big books. So I was like very, very worried about it. So yeah, but I did manage to get those books later. But yeah, some of them actually it was kind of a mixed bag in terms of the whole experience, because what happened was when I bought those books from the comic shop, they sold me the books at a certain grade. They said, like, some of them I knew that were low grade, where they were like a 2.5 or 2.0 or something like that range. But what happened was when they sent them off to CGC and I got them back, they came back as a 0.5. So I was like, what happened? And there was pages missing. So things like that. In a weird way, it was a bit of a buyer beware kind of situation, where you have to be careful. Even when you're buying from a reputable shop, you can have that issue where the page might be missing, like a centerfold might be missing or something like that. And it was good that I got them graded. I did negotiate with the shop to say, hey, look, you sold me it as a 2.5, it's a 0.5, give me a little bit of a discount or give me a break on some of the shipping costs. So it was a bit of a mixed bag. Yeah, it was, whenever you buy something, always buyer beware. And it doesn't matter who you buy it from. Always check through the pages, stuff like that. The thing was, in this case, I hadn't actually held the books at ever. Like, before I actually got the books from the shop, I had already sent them off to CGC through the shop. So basically, we had negotiated through messaging, and they agreed to send them off to CGC for me. So I never got to see the books myself. I'd never had the chance to verify the books in terms of making sure all the pages were there. So again, buyer beware. This guy has all the books I want. Salute to you, sir. Thank you. I'm glad. If your books get lost by CGC, is there nothing you can do about it? Yes, there's nothing you can do about it. What happens, though, is when you send books off to CGC, they insure them. So what they'll do is, let's say you send off a book and it's worth $1,000. Well, you'll get $1,000 worth of insurance money from the lost book. Okay, so that's one of the advantages of CGC, that they do insure the books. So you get that kind of balance. But you will not get that book back. It's gone. if it gets lost, it's lost. So that is what it is. Hey, Night Tiger, good friend. Hey, oh, great leader of and cult of followers. Thank you. So yeah, so yeah, so I don't know. So far, my experiences with CGC have been sort of so. I'm not super keen on CGC in terms of the way that they deal with customer service. Like, I would always be able to speak to somebody when I dealt with them, but I just found like it would be kind of like a black hole in terms of like you wouldn't know what was going on at CGC. You wouldn't know where your books were, what the status was. It was just you hope for the best that the books are going to come back to you. That's the one thing I didn't like about CGC, and it's just such a slow process. Now I've heard that they have improved on those very points. That their turnaround time has improved a lot, but their pricing has gone up a lot too. So yeah, right now I wouldn't send anything to CGC because of that part. So yeah, that's just my opinion. If you like CGC, send books off to CGC. They are a reputable company in terms of grading. So yeah, I don't know. It's me babbling about CGC. So yeah, if anyone else has any questions, you can ask me them now. If you don't have any questions, I will end the video. And thank you for all the people that are watching me babble about stuff and showing a little bit of a teaser for the stuff that I will be showing in a future unboxing. So this is my teaser video, really. But I can see some really cool books like that are peeked out from the bags and stuff. So there's some pretty cool stuff that's going to be shown in that future unboxing. Stay tuned for that. If you are ever curious about what might be in these unboxings, you can check out my Instagram. Go to my Instagram, subscribe to my Instagram. Like you can see all the stuff that I'm picking up as I pick them up. Whenever I pick up a book, I'll post it up on my Instagram. I'll go, oh, I got this cool book, and I'll post it up. If I want the first appearance of a Golden Age character, how do I get it? Just wait until it appears online. So what I always recommend is I find that if you know what you want and you have it in your mind, okay, like it sounds like The Secret or something like that, but what I'm saying is do the following: make a list of all those appearances that you'd want. So for example, Smash, I think it's Smash 43 is the first appearance of Lady Luck. Smash Comics 43. So what I did is I had that on my want list, and I put Lady Luck's first appearance, or all select comics first appearance of Blonde Phantom. Batman 1 is first appearance of the Joker, not first appearance of Catwoman. I'm gonna say Batman 3 is her first appearance. So I put that on the list, and then what I do is I'll either put on like my comic shop, eBay, Heritage Auctions. You can actually set alerts so that whenever those books come up that are on your little want list, you get a notification. Actually, I just picked up Wolf Gal #2 on my comic shop because it was on my want list and it was on my radar, and it just notified me, and I bought it instantly. It even had best offer. I didn't even negotiate. I just bought it for the price that they wanted for it because it's such a rare book. But that's the trick. You gotta create these alerts, and just whenever the book appears, you grab it, or well, within reason if it's not overpriced. Hey, Geek Out with Roscoe. Hi, Roscoe. Yeah, really another great collector, another great member of the community, Roscoe. So yeah, check out his channel too. And hi, Cole. Cole collects comics. Yeah, another channel that's really cool. So yeah, so yeah, so that's my strategy. That I think as long as you know what you want and create that list, you know, what I did was I was like the way I learned a lot of the stuff that I babble about on a regular basis on these things um, is I would do the following. I would say, okay, which characters do I like? So I liked Wonder Woman, and I would basically say, okay, I like Wonder Woman, and then I'd be like, okay, what's her first appearance? It's All Star 8. Okay. And then I'd be like, oh, what are other characters within Wonder Woman that I liked? And then I'd be like, oh, there's like Giganta, and there's like, you know, White Swan or something. I don't know. I'm just thinking random characters. Cheetah. You know, there's different characters, and then you try to find, you know, you can go to the Key Collector Comics app, you know, and you can search those characters. Another site that I use is Comic Vine. Comic Vine. You can just type in the character's name, and then they'll tell you where their first appearance is. So I use that, and then I create a list of all those first appearances because I love collecting first appearances. And then I'll create a list of all those first appearances, and then I'll just, you know, go after them. Like I'll just like hunt them down. Actually, there's a really major first cover appearance. So one of the things that I like, especially because I collect Golden Age, is I like getting not only the first appearance, because often the time the first appearance doesn't have a cover appearance. I'll actually go after that first cover appearance. So, for example, I mentioned Lady Luck. Well, her first cover appearance was not the same as her first appearance. So I chased after her first appearance, and then later I got her first cover appearance. And that's one of the things I'll do. One of the other characters that I really like is Black Canary. And I can tell you in this future unboxing, I got Black Canary's first cover appearance, which is a major book. So yeah, so those are the kind of the strategies that I'll do. Like I will not only look for that first appearance, but I'll look up what is their first cover appearance, and I'll kind of go after those keys as well. So because I really do enjoy, I really do enjoy going after those first appearances. My comic shop, it is free to create an account. Yes, it is. And it also, what I recommend, if you're going to do the My Comic Shop thing, there's a couple tricks. And I'm going to teach you guys a couple tricks with My Comic Shop. One, so get their newsletter. You know, if you get their newsletter, you can usually get 5 to 10% off their books, which is a big deal. Another thing is they have actually 3 sets of books that they list on their website. One is their own inventory, and then the other is like consignment, and then the third is like auctions. So there's like 3 sets of books within any book that they're listing. They'll have those 3 types. Generally, what I found is the consignment books are usually a little bit more expensive because it's like people like us selling their books, and we want top dollar. Whereas My Comic Shop, their own inventory of books, they really haven't upped the prices, if that makes sense. They're a little bit older in terms of pricing, and so if you're, especially with modern books, you'll notice that the price goes up really, really quick as some character gets hot. For example, what's her name? Hollow's Eve is a good example. So Hollow's Eve #1 just came out. It's like a really new book. And it went to be like a $25 book or something like that. It's like, you know, it's expensive-ish. Well, I bought on My Comic Shop 3 copies of it for cover price, or like slightly below cover price. So that was in their inventory. But all the vendors that were in that had the same book were listing it at $20. So that's my point. Like there's the inventory, then there's the consignment books, but there's that third category, which is the auctions. And now the cool thing is, this is a big tip, and this is like a lot of these books that I'm going to show in this future unboxing came from this one tip, and I got them so cheap as a result. So what happened was they had their Prime auction on My Comic Shop, and their Prime auction means that and it was Prime Golden Age auction too. It's just a really great collection. And they just had every major, like so many major keys for the golden age, like pre-code horror keys, good girl art keys, like just so many keys. And what happened was, there were certain books that I actually had put, like, that I really wanted, that they actually had in their inventory. And they wanted like $1,000. Okay, let's say for a book, just as an example. And it was $1,000 in their shop, but then they had an auction for the same book. And so I'm like, oh, well, let's see what the auction goes for. If the auction goes for less, well, I can buy it, in the auction for less than what that book. And if it goes above for some reason on the auction, then I just buy the one that was in my inventory anyways. So what happens is, though, everyone else has that same philosophy, so it never gets to what the actual value that book is from their own collection. So what ends up happening is the auctions always sell for cheaper than you can buy the books anywhere else. So I love that. I just love when they have auctions, because you can. So what I was able to do is I bought about $5,000 worth of books, but I was buying them at 1/3 of fair market value. It's just insane. Like, I was buying like some big titles, like that I got was Web of Evil #5, which is a big title. I got like so many, like I got the Mr. Mystery collection from there, like 4 Mr. Mystery comics. I got a whole bunch of these books that were fairly expensive books, but through their auction, I got it really, really cheaply. So that's just a big tip. Always look for their auctions. But when you bid, bid your max. Like whatever your max is, like, doesn't have to be fair market value. It could be whatever your max is. Bid your max, because what ends up happening is they keep on refreshing the timer. So if you don't bid your max, then it will just go on forever. So yeah, I always bid my max, and my max is usually half fair market value. And so I'll like have a really low max, and if I win, I know that I've gotten a great deal. So just a tip with my comic shop that I use to get really great deals on some pretty major books. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed that. So again, thanks everyone for watching. If you have any other questions, or if you want me to show something really quickly, I will do so. But if not, I will cut the stream, and I appreciate everyone for watching. Thanks for everybody coming in. Like, I see 23 people watching this, as I was about to just end the stream. So yeah, so I'll just because 3 people showed up, I'll show some quick books that I grabbed when I was grabbing some other things. I'll show you guys this one. I love this book just because I grabbed it by accident. So this is Weird Tales of the Future. I love this. This is Basil Worthington. So yeah, just a cool book. So yeah, how to find fair market value on comics? Good question. So what you do is, it's very simple. For example, I'll show you another book. So this is Eerie #3. Okay. So what you do, you got this book, Eerie #3. You take the title, Eerie #3. You go to Go Collect or GPA Analysis. Either one of those sites will do. And you basically just type in Eerie #3 and then do a search, and it will show you all the grades of those books and how much they've sold for. And then you just look up, oh, it's a 4.0. Then you can find out what they've sold for in the past and evaluate the value of the book based on that. It's really that simple. Another trick you can do, and this is a bit of another way of doing it, especially with Golden Age, because a lot of the time there's not really that sales history. It's really hard to find what, like, this book might have sold 20 years ago or 5 years ago. So you don't know how much it would sell for now in today's market. So what you can do is you can look at like eBay, okay? And you'll see all the live listings, right? Generally, the eBay prices are a little bit inflated, a little bit, maybe 20, 30% inflated. But what you can do is on eBay, you can click the sold listings and basically look at what people on eBay paid for similar books. So that's one of the tricks. If it's a series like Eerie, like for example, this is Eerie number 3. It could be that Eerie number 3 hasn't sold for a while. So what you can do is the following. Let's say Eerie number 2 or Eerie number 4 has sold, and they're all very similar covers. So there's nothing that's super exciting that drives the price higher than any other cover within the run. What you can do is look for sales of similar comics from the run. And then based on their value, you can say, well, okay, this one's worth that much based on that value. And that's a trick that I do a lot. I always try to figure out whenever you're buying stuff, especially when you're buying stuff that's expensive, understanding how much a book is worth, how much the fair market value is for that book, really is important when going to buy that book. Because what ends up happening is, a lot of the time with Golden Age, it's a seller's market where they'll just say, okay, I want $1,000. Well, the last time it could have sold for $200. You just don't, you don't know. It might be that they're just throwing a crazy price out there and hoping somebody buys it. So you got to be a little bit savvy where you do a bit of research and really kind of come up with a value, what you think is a fair market value for that book. That's why I always say, like, creating that want list and having that bit of a plan for what you want to get is a good start. And then really evaluating how much you want to spend for each book. That's another trick that I do. So what I'll do whenever there's an auction, I'll kind of create how much I think each book is worth and how much I'm willing to spend on it. Like, so what I'll do is actually I'll create 2 prices. I'll say how much I'm willing to spend and how much it's actually worth. And usually they're 2 different prices, right? Sometimes my pricing is below what the fair market value is. Sometimes my pricing is above. Sometimes I'm willing to spend more than the fair market value for a book. Just like I did the Wonder Woman that I bought, that was where I paid too much for it, was a Wonder Woman 14. Not an easy book to find. But I really wanted it because it was the last one I needed to complete my Wonder Woman run. So I was willing to pay twice fair market value just to have the book in my collection. So that's kind of the idea. You gotta, how much do you really want that book? Great show. How do you price these super rare ones? Like if I go collect shows, like the last sale was in 2019, like for $500, but no one has bought in 4 years. So yeah, so what I'll generally do is I will give like a sort of annual return, or I'll look at a trend line. So for example, like let's say the book sold in 2019 and then it sold in 2014, so previously 5 years. I'll look at how much it increased from 2014 to 2019, and then I'll sort of project based on that kind of trend how much it's worth today. What I used to do, especially during the pandemic, was when the prices were kind of going crazy, if there was a thing where it hadn't sold for 5 years, I would just assume that it's whatever that price was that it sold for 5 years ago, I would take that and double it. That was the easiest way to get sort of roughly what it'd be worth now in today's market. And that was fairly accurate, actually. I was pretty spot on a lot of the time. Taking that price and just doubling it was easy enough. Typically, a Golden Age book has an annual return of around 10%. So that it'll kind of steadily go up around 10%. So if you do the kind of, compound interest on a book, you can sort of determine. There's actually a trick that I love math. I'm a big math geek. there's a trick called the rule of 72. And basically what you do is in order to figure out when a book or when something doubles in value, is what you do is you take the number 72 and then you take the interest or the rate of increase, which is like for example, as I said, 10%. Okay, so you take 72 divided by 10, and well, then every 7 years, 7.2 years to be exact, that book will double in value. Okay, so that's kind of the trick. So you can take, that's the rule of 72. Whatever the number is, so if it only increases 5%, well, you take 72 divided by 5, you get roughly 14.5 or 0.4 actually. And so you know that in 15 years, in 15 years it'll double in value. So that's kind of it's like one thing that I learned that I thought was really useful, where you can kind of do compound interest really fast and figure out when things double in value. So yeah, just a really useful thing. That's one trick that I use though when I'm trying to guess how much a golden age book is, because I'll take that kind of average of 10% return, especially on a key book. Like a lot of these pre-code horror books will kind of give you that kind of steady 10% increase in growth. Major comic keys will do that. Now, some of these books, as I mentioned, like I feel bad. I keep on trashing this one book, but something like this won't give you 10% return. It's going to give you maybe that inflationary return. Okay, it's not going to be a big return because nobody's chasing this book. I wanted it because it's the first Barney Kerr, but it's not a book that a lot of people are chasing. So it's not going to be a book that is going to be going to give you that 10% return. And you got to be realistic. But if it's a key, if it's something like a cool PCH book or a cool Good Girl art cover, yeah, you can expect 10% easily. Can a stain grow on a comic? So no, a stain is not something that grows on a comic. A stain is just like something got spilled on the comic, and that's a stain. What you're talking about is foxing. Foxing does grow on a comic. Basically, it's the breakdown of the paper, and you get these brown spots that kind of grow. Yes, it can grow, but not stains, if that makes sense. Great advice, thank you. Yeah, the biggest problem is pricing these scarce golden age books. Yeah, that is a problem. So these are kind of the things that I've learned. You know, it's not an exact science. I'm not like saying, oh, this is the way to do it and you're going to be 100% right all the time, but it kind of works, and that's as good as it's going to get. At the end of the day, what is fair market value? It's meaningless. It's actually meaningless because the value is how much somebody is willing to pay for it. And I've seen books. I've talked about it on my channel. I was talking about how Superman, what was it? Superman 7 or whatever it was, like one of these Superman ones, and where it was the first appearance of Lex Luthor. And it sold for 10 times fair market value. So really at the end of the day, it's how much somebody's willing to pay for a book. It can be crazy. It can be crazy and, you know, it doesn't make any sense, but that's what it is. So yeah, it's kind of a meaningless term, but you know, we try to pay what we think we can possibly resell the book later for, right? That's the plan. So yeah, thank you for the wisdom and tips. I'm kind of new to this. Thank you. Oh, okay. Well, I hope I'm helping. That's really my goal. My goal with this channel, just so you know, is to provide like all the experience that I've had with comics, and also meet people that love collecting comics. You know, really, that's my whole goal with this channel. Just talk about comics, hang out with people that love comics. Hi, Lyle. He's a good follower of the channel, so thank you for coming to watch me talk. Thank you, Metal Bum. I like the way I think too. Okay, so yeah, so those are some of my insights. I don't know. I I try to figure out these things. I'm not. I'm as I said. I'm not 100%, but I am trying. And it's like a learning curve. You're constantly learning in this thing. But I enjoy the learning process. I love learning about these cool books. So I'm always trying to learn more stuff. Um, a little late, but yeah, as long as you come, that's all that matters. That's all. I appreciate it. Um, Honestly, this is great. I don't know anyone that talks about this stuff. Their eyes glaze. their, their eyes glaze over. Maybe it's like Wolverine, Avengers, etc. But I respect the rare older stuff. Yeah. So actually, it's funny. So that's another reason why I started this channel. Is like normally if I talk about comics with my family or with people around me, their eyes are gonna be like, "Oh no, not comics again." It's just like they'll be like totally bored. But I like the fact that I can talk about this stuff and people actually be interested in it. So I think that's it's kind of funny that I can talk about this stuff with people that actually find it interesting. It is cool. The funny thing is, I do go on about the Golden Age. I love my Golden Age books, but actually I do like modern books too. There are books that I like in the modern stuff. But I still like Wolverine and the newer stuff too. Honestly, like it all truly, and that's the way I feel. That's the way I feel too. I you know I still go weekly to my comic shop, my not the website, but to my actual local comic book store, and I buy modern books. I'll buy like, oh, the latest sexy girl cover, or or some title that I enjoy reading. So it's not like a dead thing for me. It's like if I just collected Golden Age, well, after a while that would get kind of stale. I like the living element of it, where you can buy some modern books that are just they're doing some new thing. I do enjoy that. Why are '90s books not worth that much? Well, that's so. '90s books are not worth much because they massively printed them. So just so you know, if you look at Golden Age books, they massively produced these Golden Age books. So, for example, Action One, a book that is millions of dollars, right? Well, it was originally printed 1,000,000 times. So it's a very common book in back then, back in 1939. Go back in time, you can buy it very easy, okay? But none survived. Very few survived. I think there's 72 copies altogether. It's just a rare book because very little survived. People read the books, they threw them away. There was paper drives. There was a whole bunch of things that killed those books. And time itself killed those books. With the '90s books, they had the same massive print runs. They were printing like anywhere from 1,000,000 books to 5 million books for some of these books, and everybody would take the book, they would put it into their to their bag and board, and they would put it in their long box and let it sit. And sometimes what you'd have is people would buy literally long boxes filled with a particular issue, because in the '90s they would come out with X-Men #1, Spider-Man #1, everything was #1, and people would be like, "Oh, I got to get the next #1. It's the new book," and they'll buy like 20 copies of it. Well, what happens is everybody has those books, and they'll just sit in these long boxes, so they're all mint. And then when anyone tries to sell them, if it's a $5 book and somebody sells it for 10, then everyone's going to be like, "Oh my goodness, it's gone up in price. I got to sell my copies." And then they flood the market with all these '90s books, and the price drops again. So that's how it is with the '90s books. There's just too many of them out there. And there's some books that we consider valuable books that have that danger, real danger. I'll give you an example of a book that everybody loves. It's a book that everybody's like, "Oh, this is my Grail book," but it's a very dangerous book. It's Hulk 181. That book has thousands of copies on the census. So if it's ever the case that people, decide to flood the market with that book, they could flood the market and the book would just sink in value. So there's a lot of, that, but generally with the 90s, it's not, it's hundreds of thousands of these books that are available. So they're just so common that it's really hard to get much value out of them. And there's some really great books in the 90s. Like, there's some really fun stuff that came out in the 90s. I enjoy it. My comic, like when I really got active in collecting comics was during the 90s, and I fell for it all. I was like, oh, it's a shiny cover, it's a acetate, or no, I don't know, not acetates, but like lenticular, or foil covers. Foil covers were huge. I'd fall for it all. I'd buy it and I get excited by it. Or this is the first appearance of some random character. I would get into it. So yeah, so the 90s was a very special time. Those books, for the most part, they're just easy to get, and that's what kills the value. So yeah. The hunt for oddities is a chase I enjoy. Yes. So that's kind of the reason why I enjoy the golden age much more than the modern. And I call the 90s the plastic age. But I enjoy the hunt. I enjoy looking for these really obscure books. And I actually like the look of the golden age books. Something about them. I like the style. I like just the way that they did things back then. And I like there's sort of a weird innocence of the golden age that you don't see in the modern age. You don't see even in the later ages. There was a weird innocence of the golden age and a bit of shock at the same time. So you think of PCH, well, that was just like way over the top, but there's I showed this book in this unboxing a little bit. This is a good example. Okay, this is I think this is like a 50s book, early 50s. So this is golden age, but you get this. This is innocent in a weird way. So something's happened where her dress is flown up, right? Careful, Sarah, you get seasick. So it's like maybe a shaky, it's actually like in the fun houses they would have these like air things that would kind of scare you and stuff, but and it blew up her dress, but she's kind of holding it down. She's trying to be innocent, and yet you see a little bit of suggestion, a little bit of niceness. I just like that innocence and like a little bit of naughtiness and innocence at the same time. And I find that not just with like the good girl art stuff, but even with the horror, even with the crime, they would do things that would shock, but there would be sort of a formality to it. I don't know. It's just some weird thing about it that I kind of appreciate that. I really enjoy that from the golden age. Superheroes, the way that they would display them, they would be like, I don't know, much more heroic. I don't know. I just really enjoy the golden age. So I don't know how to explain it. I'm not doing the best explanation there, but I don't know, hopefully you got something out of that. Yeah, I used to chase the shiny holograms too. See, that's what I'm saying. That's 90s. That's like that sentence is the 90s. It was a fun time. It was like everything was hyped up. I enjoyed it. I really loved that experience. And in a weird way, that's another reason why I started this channel. It was to kind of rekindle that 90s love for comics. Because back in the 90s, everyone would kind of go to the local comic book shop and they would hang out, and people were younger. It was a younger crowd. I was in my early 20s. And people would just talk comics. They'd be like, oh, what's the hottest comic? Did you check out Wizard magazine? There was that kind of like excitement. And, what's the hot book of the week? And everyone would get kind of excited about it. And, they would talk about how pricing is going crazy. Oh, did you hear the death of Superman? Like all this kind of stuff. And there was a lot of excitement, a lot of energy at that time. And I find nowadays when you go to the comic book shop, it's not that way. It's an older crowd, first of all, people like me going there. And a lot of the time they don't really chat, they don't really hang out as much. It's more of a, go in, buy your comics, and then get out. Maybe you talk to the guy at the front the who's checking out a little bit, but that's it. It's not the same vibe that I had when I went to comic shops back in the 90s. It was a much more there was much more energy back then, and that was because it was a younger crowd. That's why I'm kind of hoping the modern books start taking off again. I actually want the modern era to improve and them to start producing more books that engage people, because we need that youth, we need that energy again, that little bit of life put back into comic collecting. So yeah, that's just something that I think about sometimes. I think a lot, too much maybe. I think just too much about these things. But yeah, it's something I really do miss about the 90s, and that's why I started this channel, really to be back and hang out with people. So yeah. So I realized this has almost been going on for 2 hours. This was supposed to be like a 15-minute video where I just show like a couple of boxes. I realized I've been babbling for an hour and a half, almost 2 hours. So I really do appreciate anyone that's stayed this long and hung out with me. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. Please tell everyone you know to subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to get to 3,000 subscribers in the next few months. And I will have a giveaway if I do the 3,000 subscribers. So, help me get there, and then I will give something away that's cool. So yeah. So thanks again for watching. I really do appreciate everybody that hung out with me. And bye for now.